Thank you, and we're back. Board of Education meeting. We're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before on the agenda for tonight, the superintendent's update, Dr. Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Scarito. Welcome, everybody. Just a couple of student-athlete updates to share with excitement here. So, congratulations to the Hauppauge wrestling team. So, a few weeks back, they were crowned the 2025 Suffolk County champions. And at that tournament, we had the following place winners. So, Trevor Patrovic was in first place and was also the most outstanding wrestler of the tournament. Gino Manta also came in first in the counties. Connor Sheridan second. Elijah Infante fifth. And Jason DeFrites sixth. So that was at the counties. I was actually there for that, and it was unbelievable. I was able to see Gino in particular pin his opponent in it was about a minute. So then the coaches, obviously Messina family, brought Trevor, Gino, and Connor up to Albany this past weekend, and all three placed at the states. Trevor came in fourth, Connor fifth, and Gino sixth. So congratulations to those students. They will represent Hauppauge. And then also this past weekend, our kickline team was in Orlando, Florida, and they won first place in the high kick small team category, second year in a row. Am I right on that? Second year in a row for that team. So congratulations to those girls. Thank you, Mr. Screed.
Thank you, Dr. Murphy. 5A, we don't have any recognitions and any awards for tonight, so we'll move on to 5B. Mrs. Sienna.
Sure. So tonight kicks off the first presentation of the 25-26 year. So the budget isn't developed overnight. It's a months-long process. The first thing that we tie back everything to is district goals, making sure everything we're putting into the budget ties back onto that. The next layer is enrollment, to determine staffing needs, to understand enrollment. And then as part of the budget, at least 70% is staffing and benefits. And then finally, ultimately, we're here for the kids, so we're making sure that we have plenty of opportunities for students. Enrollment projected for 25-26, about 3,066 kids. Staffing updates. So with June 30th, 2025, there will be 15 retirements. We'll be replacing 13 of the 15, reducing overages 1.0, so total decrease of 3.0 FTE. And then increases, there's a need for 2 special education teachers, 1 reading teacher, so it is a wash. Curriculum and instruction highlights, same with every single year. We're making sure that we're maintaining class sizes, programs, we're supporting college awareness, other post-secondary opportunities, continuing investment in classroom technologies, and then we provide fee coverage for PSAT, SAT, IB, and ACT examinations.
Just to thank the board, this week we had the SAT and the ACT at the high school, again funded by this Board of Ed, so thank you for that.
Absolutely. So funding snapshot, the largest source of revenue for Hauppauge schools is the tax levy. The change in the tax levy from the current year 24-25 to 25-26 is currently at 3.77. Next largest source of revenue is state aid, that is 20 million. We see a little bit of a dip from the 24-25 year, but we'll know about April 1st when the state budget is enacted what the final number will be for Hauppauge ahead of the budget adoption on April 22nd. Pilots are payments in lieu of taxes. Hauppauge's a really cool place because the industrial park provides the district with at least $7 million in revenue there. Other is interest for banking, self-insurance recoveries. We've seen a lot of interest changes over the last couple of years. So there's an increase there. Reserves, this is a part of our historical funding plan. Both reserve and fund balance help to mitigate the impact of the taxpayer. So we're looking for the 25-26 year, a total budget of 138, 390, 328. All school districts have to provide a balanced budget, so revenues have to total and meet and match expenditures, which they do. Expenditure budget 138, 390, 328, which is a change over the current year of 3.88%. And then looking forward, what do we have to do now? So the next meeting will be a deep dive into revenue and tax cap. That's March 18th. April 1st is a budget workshop for curriculum instruction, technology, and health and safety. April 22nd is the budget adoption. May 13th is the budget hearing. And then ultimately the budget vote on May 20th. And that's all I got.
Mrs. Sienna, I don't know if it's appropriate time, but I want to ask anyway.
Sure.
When did we plan for the preschool? Got a lot of community members asking me, I guess Smithtown, our neighboring district, went through a tough thing where a lot of children did not get,
With UPK?
yeah.
So we haven't done our lottery yet
Okay.
for our UPK. Our
Okay.
UPK lottery is, I want to say it's in April. We do
Do
our
you know
lottery.
how many, what our number is, Mr. Tasman, as far as, because somebody asked me, I really didn't know the number.
Next year's numbers, I'm not sure.
Okay, so you don't know.
But we've been fortunate that we haven't had to turn anybody away.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's,
good news.
we have 7 sections, I believe. So we're hopeful we'll be in the same situation, but we'll see what the numbers show.
That's a great deal.
Yeah, the last 2 years, we've been able to accommodate all our.
We have, okay. Because I was sorry to get a tough ask from the
Yeah.
parent.
Yeah, we're in a good position.
Any other questions from the board from Mrs. Sienna? Dr. Cronin?
So every year I kind of ask this, we have declining enrollment, we have a bunch of retirements, we always have, well, not always, but net zero is usually we end up with hirees versus retirees. Any chance this year we have a couple FTEs that we do not have to replace?
Well, and that slide kind of captured the situation. So we aren't replacing, but then we have some mandated FTEs that are due to CSE decisions, and so we're not replacing everybody. So again, we're finding that balance between the class size goals that the board has had for some time, but with declining enrollment, we're able to not replace everybody. Separate from all that, we have decisions, mandates that come out of CSEs that are related to student needs. So this is kind of the story over the last 10 years. We've actually reduced staffing through attrition in many of the general ed areas, but we're seeing that over that same, let's say, 10-year period, we've increased staffing with special ed, with reading department, with ENL. So different populations have different needs there, and that's why that balance is seen where, in this case, we have a net zero. In the last few years, we've been plus, right? So we've actually added staff over the last few years. So in some ways, this is a good development that we're not adding net, right? It's a net zero, but we'll see what happens. The next couple months, there could always be additional staffing, retirements and things.
I think
We also monitor our enrollment in all our grades, especially like kindergarten, which is where.
Well, that was my next
Yeah,
question.
we
So,
anticipate the same amount, but it could, right now, it's just tracking, we're watching very closely, there could be a reduction in there. We don't guarantee it, but we're watching that. As far as the registrations that we're receiving right now, we're budgeting for the same amount, but it could be less.
There's certain triggers that will, change our thinking on the number of sections because it's all like a math equation. Right?
so right now the projections show that we're still well under our class sizes that we can,
Yes.
so we're able to maintain all that easily next year.
Yep.
That's great.
We're still in a very good place with class sizes at the elementary level in particular.
Now, Dr. Crawford, you're looking for savings of some type, not only just,
Well, I think we always are, right?
Right.
We know we'll put it to good use with the students in another way, but, you mentioned that if we get, a surprisingly low enrollment for kindergarten, because I know you receive packets all the way through the summer.
Yes.
We're not looking at excess or release any teachers, so, it's just a perfect opportunity with the retirements and not having to replace everybody. That's the way we prefer it, right? So,
Yeah, and there's the person balance, but then there's the financial part of it, which is even though this is netting out, the new hires would be at a, lower step, so there'd be financial savings there.
Dr. Murphy, if we could look into, Dr. Crawford had brought up, maybe think outside the box even further and see if there's anywhere for savings. I know we run pretty lean and mean, but we're gonna have to eventually figure somewhere to, one less ream of paper. I don't know, something, we're gonna have to figure out
Yes.
something.
Yes.
So, I agree with Dr. Crawford. Thank you.
Speaking of class sizes for the middle school and high school, what are some of the lowest number of students in classes in those schools? I know we focused on the elementary, but I remember that, back in a couple of years back, there was some classes that had like 5 kids or even lower, I've heard.
So, those conversations happen at budget time, and they're normally the unicorn classes, I'll call it, where it's like an AP physics, specialty classes, IB dance, where we have kids who are dance students. So those are rare, and normally the situations I'm sharing, which are very specific. I would say that class sizes in general, though, at the secondary level, that analysis is much different than K-5, because it's across departments, and we're anywhere from 25 to 30 on average, depending on the department and the class. But I will tell you, these guys will tell you, like, the charge I give is, we look at every single department, section, staffing, to Dr. Kraft's point, we're looking at, how many different conversations, how many times I make you go through this with me, Mr. Tasman? Are we certain about the numbers? It's over and over and over again. So we're looking always at that. It's the balance between, we don't want to cut courses and sections that we've created, to give our students this diverse experience. And if that's the one thing that they're passionate about and they're excited about, we don't want to remove those from the course catalog. But we do have a general philosophy of, if we're going to add a course to the catalog, what are we taking away? Because you also can't do it all.
Yeah, and you're balancing, like Dr. Murphy said, we're in the 20s in most of our courses from 7th grade up, and the AP classes or specialized classes that a singleton might have a 14 or a 15 hit to run it for those students who need that course, right? But most of our classes are in the 20s.
So every year, every school year, are there classes that are cut and classes added, or is it pretty stable?
I wouldn't call it cutting. I would call it that they're just not run. They're not part of the catalog. But we have the board has the curriculum and instruction committee. New courses are vetted through there. Ultimately, they come to me to bring to you guys. And normally, new courses are to fill a certain need, changing standards, changing needs of our students. So there's a balance we try to keep there. That's a trickier balance, but we're always on top of that as well, because again, a district our size, you just always have to be thinking about what's the right number of courses to offer so you don't dilute everything, right?
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Any community members have any questions? Yes.
I saw somewhere on the website that a number of teachers took I don't know if it was a buyout or something.
Yes.
It was 2025, there was a good portion of it there.
Yes.
As well as going into 2026 and 2027.
Yes.
As far as that's, I guess you could hire something less and then make a determination on what you need as far as classroom sizes.
Exactly right.
The other thing I wanted to ask you, Elon Musk, while he's wheeling his chainsaw, will this affect us for this year at all, or we're okay?
We should be okay at this point. It's unknown how
We don't know what
moves there would affect us. Yeah.
I don't think here.
Any other
Thank you.
questions? We're going to move on to item 5C, the adoption of minutes for the business meeting of the Board of Education, February 11th, 2025. I'll make the motion. Dr. Kraft with the second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Number 6, questions and comments on tonight's agenda only. Any community members have any questions? We're going to move on to the consent agenda, which is 7 through 7.4. I'll make a motion. I'll make the second. Any people need, I'm sorry, they need separate things for the consent agenda. I'll make the motion. I'll make the second. In favor? Policies for tonight's discussion, committee reports with 2 absentee board members. We're going to put that all with the next meeting statement. Number 10, any discussion matters from the board? Okay. I just want to once again thank all our security guards and all our security personnel. I think they're doing a great job. I think sometimes we forget them. I also want to thank all the crossing guards. I drive up and down our school streets a lot when I'm doing my job, and always waiting. It's great.
It's been
It's
two
very-
cold days.
Yeah, and I appreciate what they do. And they get the buses out. Let me tell you, when they get those high school buses out, it is a
Yes, you better do
Some
what they
guided
tell you,
planes.
yes. Yes.
amazing. Number 11, any new business? No? Okay. Number 12, questions and comments from the community about anything in the elementary school? No? Our next business meeting will be Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. We thank our community members for coming out. I'm going to make a motion for adjournment. Mr. Dr. Kratman for a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Intelligence is coming down.
Those,